All right, before I start and go into this lesson, man, about this topic that's I think is an important topic, I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakar Kwadash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. All right, so this is gonna be an interesting topic, man. Or I think it's gonna be an interesting topic that's very important, man. Right, and it's on the red pill community, right, which really stems on trying to be successful in this society that is ran by the Edomites. All right. So, in case you didn't know right now, the earth is in the hands of the wicked man. Right. So, what the red pill community is ultimately doing is telling you how to navigate this society that's been given into the hands of the wicked and win in this society. Right. To where you have to kind of scurry around and be able to win though in this society. It doesn't teach you about the society to come of the kingdom of heaven. It teaches you how to win in this society. This is Job chapter 9 and verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Right now, one of the main things, man, about the red pill community that I've noticed is that the majority of the people in the red pill community are so-called African Americans, West Indians, Latinos, right? And I ain't really seen no Native Americans in there, but there could be some people that are Native Americans that are running some of the things, some of the channels or whatever that don't look like a stereotypical Native American as well, anyway. Because despite what some people might think, several Native Americans look like what the world would call African Americans, right? Several of them do because they're all part of the same group of people, which is Israelites, right? The Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are all Israelites, man. And they have a covenant with God, whether they like it or not, right? And the Hebrew Israelites use the internet as a big platform to push the words of God and the truth of the Bible, right? The Red Pill community, as far as I can see, the main thing that they use is the internet too, right? They use the internet. They use YouTube, Rumble, and all of these different platforms, right? They might use Twitter, they might use TikTok, right? But the point is they use the internet, right? Now, before I say what I'm next thing I'm gonna say, I'm gonna read this Bible verse as well. This is Romans chapter 10 and verse 1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to Yahweh for Israel is that they might be saved. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge. Now, this lesson is about how God is not rocking with you, with the red pill community, man. About how God is displeased with the red pill community, because the red pill community has came about as a direct result of what the Hebrew Israelites have been doing, right? Our teachers from Great Millstone, right? And I'm not part of Great Millstone, but I'm talking about the teachers, the main teachers of Great Millstone, which ultimately stems from One West, right? Which started in New York, if I'm not mistaken, right? They have been speaking about all the things that the Velpo community speaks about. They've been speaking about that without receiving super chats. They've been receiving that and talking about. They've been speaking about that topic for free. Without telling people to like, comment, and subscribe. They've been speaking about that. And all you Red Pill community dudes, especially considering you use the internet as your main platform, every single one of you has came across at least one video of a Hebrew Israelite on your time on the internet, man. And a lot of you was probably talking shit, man. A lot of you laughed. And some of the main ones that are big now that I've got million subscribers in it, some of the main ones, I don't even need to say their names, man. But in fact, you know what, I'm gonna. Some of the main ones, which would have been Kevin Samuels, Fresh and Fit, right? AMS, Steph is Cold. Some of y'all would have all heard, right? This Tate guy, he's an Israelite too. He would have heard about what's the truth of the Bible is, man. He would have came across that, man. And some of you laughed. A lot of you would have laughed when you heard that and thought, nah, what's this? Because they don't look rich to me. They don't look like high value men to me. They might say a few good points that I can try and steal what they said and try and apply it to my thing, right? And then you've said a lot of you have said this, man, in your hearts, man, or openly. oh, I'm going to use some of those points for the channel. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Oh, I didn't know that the Bible said that about women. So I'm going to take what they said about women and I'm going to apply it to women. And I'm going to pretend like I came up with that. A lot of you have did that, man. And you don't realize really that you've been marked for that, man. Right? One of your main guys that already was on all of that was already the head of that community, Kevin Samuels. He passed away, did he not? Right? And then the new leader that stirred up after him, he's also going in a direction that's not beautiful right now, isn't he? Because a lot of you have saw these videos, man. A lot of you have saw the Hebrew Israelites from the main teachers, right? A lot of you have saw them, and you laughed a lot of them, man. You thought, what's this? They ain't wearing rollies. They're wearing these rags with these weird tassels on there. A lot of you laughed about it, man. And we've seen the evidence that some of you have heard, because some of the people that you've invited on your shows have openly spoke about the Israelites. So we know you're aware of it. We know you are, man. And more importantly, Yahweh knows that you are aware of it. Because a lot of you live in cities that have got people that push that doctrine, man. Verse 2 again, for I bear them record that they have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge. So a lot of you mention God and stuff like that in passing. But then when you look at your lifestyles that you live, it's full of adultery, it's full of covetousness, it's full of pride, it's full of potentially, in some cases, bearing false witness. But one of the main things that you do is adultery, man. You ain't got a problem with sleeping with other men's wives, a lot of you, right? A lot of you ain't got a problem with that, and you'll call a man a simp for him being jealous and envious of another man sleeping with his wife, when that's obviously that a man's going to do that. That's a normal thing for a man to be like that. That's one of the main things that spur you guys on with your community, man. One of the reasons why you tell guys to leave their women, right, when they're acting up, is because you know that if the guy gets it too engrossed in a woman, then he could end with himself in a prison cell, man. But if it was in the society that it's supposed to be, every man would be able to have his woman to himself like he's supposed to be able to, man. And a lot of y'all have heard about the truth of the Bible and you laughed at it, man. So Yahweh's showing the world that you guys are not the way to the truth of the matter. Because everything that you guys is talking about, like I heard some of y'all talking, and some of the things that you people say, like good points on the women and that. But then you'll say something outlandish like, oh yeah, and the head of Twitter, he's really, the new head of Twitter, he's really helping things because he unlocked certain people and unbanned them off his platform. And I'm thinking to myself, how are you talking about this guy like he's some good dude, when this guy is literally owning a company that they're going to be putting charagmas in people's body to control them? They're literally doing that. He's literally running tests on these things. So how are you thinking he's a good guy? Or you're thinking that this society is going to continue on forever, and you're teaching people to treat the world according to that, even though you're saying at the same time that there's people that are making deep fake recordings of people's voices. So why are you trying to join yourself onto this society then? Why is it that you're doing that? If you think all of these things, shouldn't you just remove your mind from this place? But you can't, because you're connected to it too much, because you love this place, man. And that's the majority of you red pill dudes. And then on top of that, you mention a Bible occasionally on a lot of your videos, man. So if you've got and people comment that about these things, and you've brought on people that are telling you about world wars, right? That are telling you about what the government's financial system's really like. But and on top of all of that, you're still trying to tell people to just make it here. Verse 3, for they being ignorant of God's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of God. So a lot of you have heard what the righteousness of God is because you've had the Bible quoted on your shows. You've mentioned the Bible in passing and made good points. You've said to women, oh, you're trying to ask for a traditional man, but are you a traditional woman? Are you a virgin? And you've cut the women when you've said this. You've hit them to the soul, right? But just the same way you've been hitting people to the soul when you stumbled upon those videos, right, of Israelites, you got hit to the soul. And you had to make a decision in your mind, and then you're thinking that you're doing all right because you mention God occasionally on a video here and there. But it doesn't look like Yahweh's approving of you guys, man. Because a lot of you are trying to steal points that the Israelites make and apply it to yourself, and then you're making money off it, man. You're making big time amounts of money off it, and then teaching everybody to just want to try and make it in this world, which is not a problem to want to have money in your pocket. That would never be a problem. But it does become a problem when you're trying to make money in your pocket and trying to think about building up houses, wealth, cars, and all these kind of things in a society that is against men being manly anyway. So the whole society needs to be removed and replaced with a new one. And that's why the Hebrew Israelites, right, all the true believers of the Bible, man, whether they call themselves a Hebrew Israelite right now or not, all the people that are true believers of the Bible, which will be Hebrew Israelites, right, by lineage, they will be the real descendants of the children of Israel, right? All of those people have removed their hearts from this place, and they were waiting for a new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness, where there won't be no need for no such thing as a red pill community, because the Bible speaks against women acting a fool. The Bible's been speaking about that. The Bible explains why the so-called black woman has got no hair, and I'm about to read it right now. Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 16, moreover, Yahweh saith, because the daughters of Zion, which means the women of Israel, right, are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet, right? So what that's basically saying is because the women of Israel, right, which in particular this curse fits the so-called black woman, right? Because they're haughty and they walk with stretched forth necks, so they're proud and they think that their shit don't stink, right? And they're walking around cocky, right? Which is the whole thing that this red pill community talks about, is it not? About how women have got a stanky ass attitude, and in particular, the main one that they talk about when they say these things, and the main one that always gives them static and gives them a problem in a situation on their shows, on these types of things, is a so-called black woman, right? That's the main one. That's the main one that be the headline of every single video. That's the main one that comes up, man. It's the main one. Because that's our woman. Right? That's our woman, but right now she ain't our woman. Right now she's the wicked ruler's woman, man. Which the nation that's ruling right now are the Edomites. Therefore Yahweh will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and Yahweh will discover their secret parts. So he's going to discover what women are really about. So the red pill community is one of the things that Yahweh has done to make that be shown. Right? Yahweh is in control of that red pill community thing. But here's the thing. With that community, the main things that they talk about, the Israelites have been speaking about that way before any of that existed. They've been speaking about that way more than before any of that ever existed, man. I've heard all those same things that you guys say being said to even more of a higher degree, but it being broken down to the spiritual reason as to why that's happening. And one of the spiritual reasons as to why there's even a need for the red pill community, especially among Israelites, is because we're cursed as a nation. Deuteronomy chapter 28, if you read Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15, right? And then you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna read it, man. Because a lot of you red pill guys, you're shook right now, man, with what's happening to your leader, man. You're shook right now. But your leader was an Israelite, and he tried to turn away from the God of the Bible and go to the God of the Ishmaelites. He tried to convert to that belief. And since he's converted to that belief, haven't you noticed that all of his things his whole world started getting shaken from things that happened way before that he ever even did any of that? Haven't you noticed that old things that he apparently did have came back to haunt him after he did that? Because God ain't rocking with none of that, man. And the main target of all of these things isn't even guys like you. It's the people that believe in God for real. That's the main target. But you won't believe that because you've got too much money for that, innit? You got too much money to watch people like us talk, haven't you? You know, you're too rich for that in your mind. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I commanded this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. And that includes all of you guys that are Israelites, that are either Negro, Latino, or Native American descent. That includes all of you because you're Israelites too. So you don't not become an Israelite. You don't not make yourself, you can't make yourself, you can't buy your way out of this covenant. You know, this ain't boxing promotions. You can't buy yourself out of the contract. You're part of the contract, like how we are. A crackhead on the street, that's part of the children of Israel, is under the covenant, just the same way as a person that might look like a Caucasian, but his ancestry goes back to Israel too. He's part of the covenant, and he can't escape the curses for not following the laws, just like how you can't with all your money. You can't escape this, man. But on to the topic of the woman that I was mentioning, of women that I was mentioning. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 56, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil towards the husband of her bosom, and towards her son, and toward her daughter, right? And toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and towards her children which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege of straightness. And that happened during the time of King Solomon. And that happened during the time of when the Babylonians took us down in ancient times, right? But this curse of women being hateful towards their husband is still upon us, man. That's still upon us, which is the reason why the Hebrew Israelites have been speaking about women's wickedness. And then Yahweh, to show that it's true on a bigger scale, made all you guys come out and start saying the things that you're saying. But a lot of you had heard the things that the Israelites were saying before, and you've secretly listened to everything they said and applied it to what you're saying, right? And made money from it. And then tried to pull it off as though it was your own words. And even though you know that you saw these guys saying these things, you didn't say, you know what, I heard this from here, because you were shook that he was going to rock your pockets. When our enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. Now, and you know that you've did that, man. And that's why you're getting shaken down right now, because you're trying to put yourself up there as the leaders when you ain't prepared to take it there to the point where where the Israelites are prepared to take it, man. Because we're giving the complete breakdown of what really needs to be done and talking about how the end of this society is coming. But you guys don't speak about that. You say, oh, it doesn't matter if the crypto's going down right now. I've just been buying more, you know? You'll say stuff like that, and that works for this society while it's still running. But this society's got an expiry date, man. Because in order for us to really get what we really desire, and for even you guys to really get what you desire, which is complete autonomy from a society that's wicked, this society has to end, and the society that we're ruling has to come. But some of you guys don't want to even accept that that could happen. You don't want to accept that. So that's why you'll make statements about how, oh, I think it's just going to get worse and worse and worse with how women are going to be acting. No, it's not. There's going to come a time where none of our women are going to be acting a fool like that. Haggai chapter 1, right? This is for all you Red Pill community guys, man. Haggai chapter 1 and verse 4. Is it time for you, O ye, to dwell in your sealed houses, and this house lie waste? So is it time for all you guys to be running around, flying around in sports cars, right, going on yachts, getting all the women under the sun, which really ain't your women, and you're about the 25th dude that she's been with, and in some cases you might be the 10th guy that she's been with, that weak, gross, defiled women, right, that still look good, but they're gross and defiled, and they're not trustworthy, and they're disgusting, right, which is the reason why they can make a false statement on you guys if they so choose to, and some of you have already had false statements from all of these women. But and it's been proven that it's been false. And some of you have had statements that maybe some of it could be true and some of it could not be true. But the thing is, we don't know. We don't know. But the point is, if it was under Yahweh's laws, which is the God that's your God too, but you don't believe in him like that. The God of the Bible, which is your God too, for the majority of you people that are in that Red Pill community thing, he's your God too. But if it was in the society that he's planning for us, we wouldn't have to be worrying about a woman's bearing false witness because there's judgments for that. We wouldn't have to worry about a woman's false allegations because there's judgments for that. We wouldn't be having to get the dregs of some other man's woman because there's judgments and there's laws in place to where we wouldn't have to deal with that kind of thing. But you guys have made a safe haven for yourself in Babylon the Great. And that's why the end result of all of it is getting destroyed, man, in one way or another. And the things that you've been using to glorify yourselves in have been used against you. So the same women that you glorify and how easy it is to get them and how you understand them has been used as a snare to get you, which is also what happened to Solomon. King Solomon didn't struggle with women either, right? He didn't struggle with women either. But there came a time where, because he was being around women too much, that was ended up being one of the things that was used against him. Wicked women. Verse 5. Now therefore, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, consider your ways. And this goes for every single Israelite. Consider our ways, man. Here's verse 6. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. Now, the majority of you guys in the Redpill community seem to be doing all right with your pockets, right? But yet at the same time, you don't really have no power, man. You have power to flex on the people that don't have it. But yet at the same time, when you're talking about all this high value men stuff, and I'm a high value this and I'm a high value that, you're not that high value as you think you are, because anytime a statement gets made against you that's false, your asses are getting clamped in them bracelets and taken to wherever the police want to take you, man. So you're not as high value as you think you are. Whereas in the kingdom that the Israelites are expecting, the true believers of the Bible, there ain't going to be nobody that's going to be able to make a false allegation and get us put in nowhere, man. That ain't going to be happening. That's not going to run. Verse 7. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, consider your ways. So consider your ways, man. Is it even worth it? Is it worth it to be on what they're talking about? Is it worth it, man? Because when we look at, when I'll save myself, when I look at what you guys go through, right, I'm thinking, well, what's the point of, that's even more proof that we chose the right side, man. Because trying to get all that money and all this stuff, and then to try and be able to get women, and then the women end up just lying about you, right? When she knows that she was dealing with you on her terms and it was consensual, but she might lie about it afterwards, makes you realize that this society is wicked and the women are too rotten and disgusting to be able to even maneuver properly, man. So all the maneuvering that you're doing to get these women is being used against you anyway, because you're cursed the same way we're cursed. You don't remove yourself from the curses because you get money. You don't do that. That's not how it works. Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 9. Rise up, ye women are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. Now, one of the things that I'm seeing is that the Redpill community has been used as a catalyst by Yahweh to make men more masculine, right? But that's going to be used as a portion of sedition among men. It's not to be used to be able to guide to no salvation. That's what's going to be used as a catalyst for men to stir up themselves against a society that's wicked, to not take no BS, man. Because the idea of being masculine is being pushed back into the earth, but that came first from the Israelites, man. They was talking about that long before some of you Redpill guys was even alive. Whether you can believe, they was talking about that stuff when some of you might have been 2 years old, 5 years old, right? Some of you guys are the similar ages as some of the main teachers, man. So you've definitely heard about it, but you said, nah, fuck that. I'm trying to get that money. And then you got the money. Yeah, at the end of getting that money, you still realize that you ain't free and still end up hearing about people that are speaking about the same thing that you denied all those years ago. So did you make the right decision? No, you didn't. Because you still don't really feel more free for that money you made. You're actually probably even more trapped, man. Because now you love that money too much. But some of you guys are still scoff and say whatever you want to say in your hearts, and that's good, because some of the people that got taken down right now said the same kind of shit. They was talking smack in their mind. Oh, what color's their car? What color's your supercar and all of that? Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 10. Many days and years shall be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, ye women that are at ease, be troubled, ye careless ones, strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. And women have started to receive their rebuke now, to where men are onto the women's BS, man. Right? And the red pill community thing is part of one of the things that's caused that to be. Yeah, at the same time, you guys are not exempt from judgment neither, because a lot of you people that are in that community are Israelites, man. Because we know we're the best on all things. We're the best when it comes to talking about fighting. We're the best when it comes to talking about making money. We're the best when it comes to talking about women. And that's because we suffer in all things in this society and in this world in general, and in every society that we go to, we're under them curses still. So we end up finding ways out of these things because we're the chosen of God. We're the chosen, man. So of course we're going to be the best and the most knowledgeable on all things. Yeah, if we try and deny that we're under that covenant, we're still going to get jacked up, man. Now, let me go back to the point I was making earlier, because I've said a lot of things, and the most people ain't going to listen to this anyway, and that, who cares, man, right? If one person of the elect listens, that's better than 1,000 scoffers listening, or 1,000,000 scoffers, or whatever numbers these guys be hitting. Because the majority of them people are full of shit that watch that anyway. And they're still going to be doing all that simping, and they ain't going to be listening to them, taking heed to none of it anyway, man. Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 17, therefore the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and Yahweh will discover their secret parts. So women are being exposed right now. And like I said before, that red pill community is one of the things that caused that, right? But this scripture is talking about ancient times where this has happened, but also it's still present now, this curse. In that day Yahweh will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their cords and their round tires like the moon. So destruction's coming upon this world that's going to cause for the Israelite woman and for women in general to have all the things that all those beautifiers and beauty enhancers that they use right now to be completely removed from them, man. Everything, all the fragrances that they use, everything, man, is going to be removed from them. Their whole pride, everything is going to be torn away, man. And when at the end of it all, they're going to be looking stupid. Verse 19, the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs and the headbands and the tablets and the earrings, the rings and the nose jewels, the changeable suits of powers, all the things, man, the Birkin bag, the Gucci, all their clothes, the silk, the head wraps, everything that these women use to beautify themselves, man. The day is going to come where all that stuff's going to be in tatters, man. And the mantles and the wimples and the crisping pins, all the things they use to put in their hair, straighten their hair, the weave, all of that, it's going to be taken away. But the reason why they even have weave is going into it right here. The reason why the so-called black woman even in particular needs to even have a weave is wrote right in the Bible, man. Verse 23, the glasses and the fine linen and the hoods and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink. And instead of a girdle of rent, and instead of well-set hair, boldness. So the Bible goes into that. You guys will just say, call them hair hats and that, but you won't ever break down to them. Listen, man, the reason why your ass is bold is because you're proud, your attitude stinks, your attitude sucks, and therefore God removed your hair from you. Y'all don't say that. Y'all just say, oh, your hair hats and all of this, which is fair enough because it's true. But you ain't got the spiritual understanding. And that's why a lot of you are still saying stuff like, we're still searching for the truth. But then when you've heard the truth already, man. And you know you heard the truth already, and you didn't like how it sounded, man. It was like, nah, that can't be the truth. Let me see what this rich millionaire's saying is the truth. I think he'll know more so than this broke looking dude talking different crazy. I think he'll know more what the truth of the world is because he's rich. He's got more established and he's seen things. And instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth and burning instead of beauty. So it goes into it, man. It goes into how the women are going to have their beauty removed, basically. And they've had it removed already. Yeah, it's going to get worse during the day of Yahweh's wrath. Now, I made a statement earlier about how the red pill community is being used by the Lord in order to stir up men's spirits on a mass scale as after the Israelites have already did it, right? But it's made it to where now people haven't been able to hide about that thought of women being wicked, and they haven't just heard it from men using the Bible to say it. Now they're hearing it from all types of dudes, even the types of men that women like to say that that's the type of men that they want. Millionaire, they go to the gym a certain amount of times. They got all this money. They got all this lifestyle that they can provide. But now even those men are saying it too. So the women can't hide from the fact that that's true, what's being said about them, man. They can't hide about that. It's been used to stir up men. But the Lord did that. But he's still angry with you guys because you're Israelites too. You're Israelites too, man, and you ain't coming about talking about this world in a way that's according to him. You're talking about the world in a way that's according to you getting rich and having a nice life in this society. And you forgot about the covenant that you have with God. You've tried to run away from hearing about that covenant that you have with God, man, and you've heard about it, man. There's no way that you can be on the internet as much as people are on the internet like you guys and have not heard and not stumbled across this. That's not true. And before you was even on the internet, you would have potentially heard about this, man. Definitely. You've definitely heard. And some of you, we've seen it live in effect, that you've heard about this from people that you've invited on as guests have mentioned them. And some of you guys just burst out laughing, thinking it's a game, because you've heard about it, man. And you've listened to some of it, and you've said, you know what, that's true, but I'm trying to get this money. But when this society starts crumbling around you, what are you going to be saying then, man? When you've built up all this flashy life that you wanted to have, but then the society crumbles, and now you're being faced with Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16, having to decide whether you like your money more or whether you believe in God more. You think you're going to find that an easy decision to make? Because you won't. But for the people that have been fighting diligently for the Lord and have been losing things in their life and haven't been able to win and get all of these extra trinkets and victuals on earth, they're going to find that an easy decision, man, because we don't like this place. We don't see no future for ourselves in this place, but you guys do, though. 2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 16, in fact, verse 14, woe to the boys and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Now, one of the things that's going to be a catalyst for men even having it in them to want to be against a society that's chatting and bullshit to them is that red pill community that's caused for that to be a further catalyst. But the first thing was the Hebrew Israelites, because all you people have heard about them anyway. Whether you want to admit it or not, you've heard about it, man. And even if you hadn't heard about that, you'd heard about the Bible, which is where the truth comes from. You've heard the Bible before. You've read the Bible. You know that the Bible exists, right? So how was you not able to find that then? If you're a man about truth, how was you not able to know this truth then? Or did you hear about it and deny it? Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Now, one of the things about this red pills thing is that they like to travel. They like to see this world, and they're talking about, listen up, bros. There's the women in Japan are better. Nah, bro. The women in Dubai are better. Nah, fam. The women in the West are trash. Nah, bro. The women in this part of the West are trash. You're saying all of this talk, and you got all this mouth running, right? About which woman's better in this, which borough, which province, and all that. But the day's gonna come where you can't travel anyway. That day is coming where you won't be able to travel. Verse 18, and it already has happened. So don't say it can't happen, because it's already happened once on a mass scale in the world. But then God made it remove, because he just wanted to test people what they were about for now and give people still a chance to repent. But the time's going to come where it happens and it don't unchange. It's going to remain in that way. Verse 18, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And that goes for all men are going to be afraid. The main ones that are not going to be afraid and timid in that time is going to be the men that believe in God, because that's going to be shown as the main thing to glory in. It's going to be shown that we're not supposed to glory in our wisdom, in our might, in our riches, right? We're supposed to glory in God, that we understand him. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with a sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Now, a lot of you guys have got a lot of wealth, man, and you've been showing your lifestyles on the internet, but you haven't been believing in God and giving praise to God for these things, to the God of the Bible according to the truth, right? To the God of the Bible that's not a so-called white man, by the way, right? The Heavenly Father, if his image is the image of a so-called black man, and so is that image of his son, because his son is the image of a so-called black man, and his son was made to look like him when you read it in the scriptures. And the proof that the Messiah is a so-called black man is the book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 13 to verse 15. And there might be some of you guys that have got it within you to repent, but it's going to be made more than likely at the latter age of this destruction of this kingdom coming, where some of you are going to repent, and you're going to see yourself in that guillotine, and they're going to be asking you, do you want to take it or do you not want to take it? And you're going to have a big decision to make, man. Because if you don't take it, you're going to know that death's coming. But if you do take it, you've got all this money that you've made in this society that they'll say, yeah, you can still have all that, man. You just got to put this thing in. You can choose where you want it, though. Your hand or your forehead. You can choose. We'll give you that choice at least. And some of you are going to go for that deal, man. But the elected nation of Israel ain't going to care about none of that. They ain't going to care about none of that, what they're talking about. And they're going to say, you know what? I never liked my own head anyway. They're going to say, really, you know what? This ain't even my head anyway. This head belongs to the Lord. So take it, man. You think I care? They're going to they're going to go be prepared to go out like a lamb on that day, man. They ain't going to care about this world, man. They ain't going to be squealing and crying for themselves to be able to live a bit longer in the society. They ain't going to be going for that. But some of you guys are going to be all out there, and people have watched your lifestyles and seen all the things that you have. So they might know where you live, man, and they might try and come for you in that day. And you might say, oh, I'm trained in this. I know how to use this and I know how to use that. Yeah, well, that can work once or twice or 3 times, but it's not going to be able to work every single time. And that's why you're going to need God in that day. You're not going to be able to call upon your strength that you've had because you go to the gym and do an hour a day. So what, man? There's men out there that are way more extreme when it comes to that physicality, and they're going to need that help too. And they ain't going to have it because they don't believe in the Lord neither. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with a sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So starvation's coming. And for all the talk of this red pill talk and all of that and this and that, how many of you own a farm? How many people in the red pill community own a farm? How many people in the red pill community own their own food resources? And you might say, well, how many Israelites own a farm? Not many, if any. Not many, if any of them. But do we believe in the Lord, though? And do we believe and have faith that he's going to help us? Whereas the whole thing with the red pill community is not having to believe in anybody and being able to have it all for yourself. But you don't have that bit for yourself, though, do you? One of the previous main leader of that community, right? Samuel's, right? He didn't own a farm neither, to my knowledge. He didn't own it neither. And he didn't understand the wisdom of a diet. He was drinking all them Red Bulls all the time, you know? He didn't understand those things. He used to quote the Bible, but be still speaking about marriage and all this thing, when marriage, according to the Bible, is when you sleep with a woman and she's a virgin. That's when the marriage becomes sealed. But if you slept with a woman and she wasn't a virgin before you slept with her, then that's ultimately adultery. And there can be repentance for that. Just like there can be repentance for all the other things. But a lot of you guys don't want that anyway, and you're not going to get it because you're not of the elect. You've had your consolation prize, which is those riches that you've got in Babylon, man. I'm going to end the lesson there. God ain't rocking with you Red Pill community guys, man. And he's showing it. Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, is not rocking with you Red Pill community dudes, man. And he's exposing you. He's shaking you all down, man. And he's showing that you guys are not ultimately the leaders of the Israelites, man. You're not the people to bring in the kingdom. Yahweh Shai is the person that's going to bring in the kingdom, not you guys, right? Acts chapter 5 and verse 35. In fact, let me go here. Acts chapter 5 and verse 32. No, not Acts. No, Acts chapter 5 and verse 33. When they heard of that, they were cut to the heart and took counsel to slay him. Then stood there up in the council a Pharisee named Gamaliel, a doctor of the law, had in reputation among the people, and commanded to put the apostles forth a little space. And he said unto them, Ye men of Israel, take heed to yourselves what ye intend to do as touching these men. For before these days rose up Theudas, boasting himself to be somebody, to whom a number of men, about 400, joined themselves, who were slain, and all as many as obeyed him were scattered and brought to naught. Now, is that not the kind of stuff that's happening with the Red Pill community? A guy stirs up, he gets big time, and at the peak of his fame, he comes crashing down to the earth, right? And whatever reason you want to say he comes crashing down, it don't matter. He comes crashing down, and it's shown that he's not exactly what everyone says he was, man. And that's because they didn't have the wisdom of the Bible. And some of them decided to say, man, I don't even really believe in the Bible. I want to go to a completely different belief system. And as soon as they do that, they come crashing down. And you know that you've heard about it, man. You know that you have. Don't lie. You know you've heard about the Israelites, man. You know you have. There's nowhere that you could be on the internet so much and you're able to find out when this person's lying about you, or that person's saying this, or that person's saying that, and you ain't stumbled upon one of these videos and listened to the whole video. You've definitely did that, man. Because people in that community are thinking, man, that look into things. So you would have definitely looked and heard some of this, if not a whole video, man. You would have definitely did that either before the fame or during the fame, either before your riches that you got or during them riches, man, or both. And some of you said, nah, forget that. That don't sound too rich to me. Verse 37. And after this rose up Judas of Galilee in the days of the taxing and drew away much people after him. He also perished, and all, even as many as obeyed him, were dispersed. And now I say unto you, refrain from these men and let them alone, for if this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught. So when this works of what men think in their hearts, when it starts getting big, it comes crashing down. But if it works of God, then when it becomes bigger, all right, when people end up just going bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, how much more bigger can the belief of the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans being the Israelites become bigger than when it got put, in the words of one of the most famous men in the world, and forced all you people to have to hear about that, man, and to see that when we say that we're the chosen, that's a problem in the earth. But when you guys are able to say all the things that you want to say and get interviews on big time TV shows, man, but they don't feel brave to take the people that believe in the Lord for real and put them on the front street, because they know that they'll get destroyed spiritually when they do that, man. Yet they're gonna still do it at the same time anyway. That time's coming. But they're practicing with everybody else first, you know? They're practicing with everybody else because some of all of you people have beliefs that sound similar. But you've got those things from us, people that believe in the Bible for real. Verse 39, but if it be of God, ye cannot overthrow it, lest haply ye be found to even fight against Yahweh. And that's what all you people that are coming up against Hebrew Israelites and are not believing that it's the truth, you're doing, man. You're fighting against God. All of you are fighting against God, really. And I'm going to end the lesson there, man. That God is not with you, Red Pill guys, man. Right? Because he's against what you're doing. And that's why every single time a guy gets too high, he comes crashing down, man. But God is with the Israelites, and he's going to show it too. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect to the nation of Israel. Shalom.